everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today we're looking at Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig from Stonemaier Games. And a quick thank you to Stonemaier for sending a review copy of this one. So this is a quick competitive tile-laying game, kind of a marriage of Between Two Cities and Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And the new expansion, Secrets and Soirees, adds solo play to the mix. In the original, it's only 2 players or more competitive. And there's 2 different solo modes, one that has 2 automa and kind of models the whole between thing that's key to the game, and the introvert variant. That's what I'm going to be showing you. It's very quick, but actually in some ways has more tactics, so still a lot of fun. I'll do a quick overview of play and then a full solo playthrough, but check out my separate review video if you want to hear my thoughts on the solo play in this one. And if you like the content of the One Stop Co-op Shop, so many ways to get involved. We have a weekly podcast, we have a separate streaming channel, a Discord, you can support us on Patreon, lots of stuff you can do. So the basic concept of the game is you're going to start with this throne room, and you're going to be adding tiles to it orthogonally to build your castle. They can go both adjacent, they can sometimes go underneath depending on what tile type it is, and they can also go up building new floors. But any tiles that are above the ground floor need to have tiles underneath them to support their weight. And there's a bunch of different tiles in the game. You'll have their main type up here in the upper left, another icon that only matters for certain tiles scoring in the upper right, and then a reminder of what their ability is down here. Each of the types has a generally consistent way that they score points for you. Now in the competitive game and the other solo variant, you're actually building 2 castles at once, hence the whole Between Two Castles name, and your score is the lower of the 2 castles you built. So you're trying to kind of build them both to the best of your ability while not having them get way too far away from each other. But in the introvert solo variant that I'm going to play today, you just build your own castle. Meanwhile, the automa is not building a castle. Instead, they're just collecting tiles of the 8 main different types, and they get bonus points for having more of the same type of tile, as well as having 7 or 8 of all the tile types represented. And turns in the introvert variant are super simple. You start out with 8 piles of 5 tiles each. You take one of those piles and you lay out the 5 tiles in a random order. You pick one of the 5 tiles that you like the looks of, marking it with this castle meeple. And then the automa is going to randomly take a tile, and basically whichever tile you took is always considered by them, so they might steal it from you, but it also becomes the tile you have to place in your castle if they don't take it. So you're really marking what your turn will be. And how the automa works, you can ignore a lot of this in the introvert variant. This shows for the expansion secret tiles, which match the type of an adjacent tile, which one it'll be, in this case underground tiles. And then you skip all of this stuff, you skip all of this, you just look at the number. That's how many tiles they'll use to do breaking of ties. Because how it works in a bit more detail is they see which ones are being considered by them are viable options. First of all, because they get bonus points for having sets of 3 or 5 tiles of the same type, if they have 2 to 4 in a given column, they'll always try to get those. And then, as I mentioned, they'll always try to get the one that you have. But let's say in this case, if they didn't have 2 to 4 of anything, they just considered everything, you just count along. So like a 1 here, you'd go 1, that's the tile they take. Let's say it was 7, you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you just kind of count along, wrapping back around of the tiles that they have considered valid until they pick one, and they just put it in the appropriate column, as simple as that. Then if they took the tile that you chose, you can pick any other tile to place in your castle. If they didn't, though, you must place the tile you chose. And again, you can place it orthogonally adjacent to any tile in your castle, except that to put it on a higher floor, it must have tiles underneath. And really, the only complex part of the rules are the different tile types, but I'll explain those as we go through. They're pretty self-explanatory and pretty straightforward. But the final thing I want to mention is that just like the AI, you want to get sets of 3 or 5 of the same tile type if you can, because whenever you have 3 of the same tile in your castle, you get a bonus as indicated for the tile type. And anytime you get 5 of the same regular room tile in your castle, you get to place a bonus tile of your choice. And these just help you earn a lot more victory points. And by the way, this player aid shows you all the types, summarizes how they score points, and also shows you whether they have to be on the ground floor or above, or can be in the basement. Downstairs has to be in the basement, while secret and corridor can be anywhere you want. And I'll just quickly go through these, but feel free to use the chapter if you want to skip ahead to the play. So food scores 2 victory points for specific tile types above and below it, hence the little black and white squares there. Living room score 1 point for each tile of a certain type in all of the adjacent tiles. Utility scores 1 point for one type of tile that is connected orthogonally, so like you can have like a chain of them going away as long as they're all the tile type that it wants. Outdoor tiles give you 1 point for every tile of a given type anywhere in your castle, but you can't build above them. They kind of become the cap of that column of your castle. Sleeping quarters give you 4 victory points if you have almost every other room type in your castle. You need to have 7 out of the 8 room types represented. And activity rooms are worth up to 4 victory points, 1 for each orthogonally adjacent space that's filled, but they have a certain tile type they don't want to be next to, and if they are, they're only worth 1 point no matter what else you did. So they can become worth a lot less if you don't place carefully. Corridors give you points for these random icons in the upper right of each room. There are, I think, 3 types, and it just cares about all the ones that are diagonally and orthogonally adjacent. Secret rooms become a duplicate of the room they're next to in the indicated direction. And downstairs rooms give you points for each room of a given type in the column above them, so the things that are above ground. That is pretty much all you need to know, so let's get to it. So helpfully, your randomized throne room gives you some bonuses to give you a bit of direction right off the bat. Here I'd like either an activity room or an outdoor room, either to the left or on the right side above my castle. That's what these little icons mean. Now, an outdoor room is a pretty tough sell to go there because, remember, it locks out that entire column going upwards. But the activity room we might be able to do. So let's do our first group of 5 friends. We've got an ice house looking for a living room, a chocolate room looking for downstairs rooms, a secret room, that's not going to be very helpful yet, a sleeping room, and an activity room. We know we like that for our throne room, so let's go for the bowling alley. And all of these are going to be eligible for the AI since they haven't placed anything yet. And they want the 5th one, so the tent room. So there we go. They've got 1 sleeping room, not enough to influence their decision yet. It's only when they get 2 to 4 of a given tile that they're going to aggressively pursue that type. Meanwhile, I have to place the bowling alley I selected. It's going to be worth 1 member for each orthogonally adjacent thing, but I don't want it anywhere near a living room, which at the moment is fine since there aren't any. So here or here, it's probably easier to get 4 things around it here, so sure, let's do that. And then we do it again and discard the 5th tile. So let's see, the secret is not going to do anything really for me. I guess the chocolate room might be okay. Maybe I'll get some downstairs stuff. Let's go for that. And the AI wants the 1st, so they'll get the ice house. Okay, their first food room. And I want this chocolate room to be directly above 1 or 2 downstairs rooms for maximum points. So let's put it here and plan to build some basement stuff there. And nobody took behind the bookcase, so that's gone. We go to our 2nd out of 8 sets. So let's see, we got another activity room with the same restriction as the other one. It could help us finish up our throne room requirement, or not requirement, but bonus. The Great Hall would give a bonus for swords, which I have none of. Sleeping room I find a bit restrictive, trying to make you get everything, so not sure about that. My billiards room and the bowling alley actively don't want me to have living rooms, and this gives me bonuses for having them. That doesn't seem great. Oh, but here we go. This gives victory points for each connected food room. So I think I'll go for the billiards room first and then try to get to that one second. If the AI lets me, of course. They want the 5th one and everything's still eligible. Ah, those jerks. But I will indeed get my billiards room, and we'll keep it simple. 2 more points for being on the other spot of my throne room. My throne room has the max 4 it can give me. And okay, let's see now. Yeah, I actively don't want that one. I still have 0 swords, so I guess I'll get the Queen's Chamber even though I don't really want to. And yes, they still don't have anything they prefer, so they'll take the 3rd one. But this is their 2nd utility room, so now they're in that 2 to 4 range where they're going to much more aggressively go after those. I get the Queen's Chamber, and the Great Hall is out. And I guess I'll just go around one of my activities because they get 1 point for every room that's near them, so we'll do that and leave a gap there. All right, next set. Ooh, more activity rooms. If I get another one, that'll be my 3rd, and I'll get a bonus. So yeah, I think I want to get one of these activity rooms, and then, I don't have any outdoors rooms yet, but I could get them, and I have 1 food room the parlor could benefit from. And honestly, it's not like the activity rooms are going to go away anytime soon, so let's go for the parlor first. Okay, so they do treat the secret room as a living room for this turn, and that's the column it would go into. That's what the question mark represents. Now, the AI would want a utility room most, but there isn't any here, so everything becomes eligible. So there it is taken. The 2nd one, the chess room, which honestly I didn't really want because, look, it can't have activity rooms within any of the diagonal spaces or it loses its extra points, so that would have been harder to use. All right, and I get the parlor, and I want to get it near my food room, but as far away from the bowling alley as I can, because remember, if it's anywhere next to it, it reduces that one's points down to only 1, so we'll do that and get more horizontal. Okay, and now I want to get an activity room. I don't really care whether it's this one copying one of my other ones or the story room. I guess I'll see story room. And let's see, they're treating the secret room as a food room. So right now everything's eligible and they're just going to take this. But that does turn food rooms into another hot commodity. So they're really going to go after utility and food when they can. I'll ditch the secret and place the story room. And I don't want any corridors nearby. So it looks like this is a pretty safe spot unless I place a corridor up here. And we pause for a moment. We have 1, 2, 3 utility rooms. Or sorry, activity rooms. So we get to draw 3 ballrooms and place one in our castle above ground. So ballrooms usually are all about your neighbor's castle. You get points for, in this case, the sleeping rooms in each of the other castles next to you instead of your own. But in the introvert play mode, since you don't have 2 opponents, you score for your own rooms and for the opposing castle. So let's see, we've got activity, we've got sleeping, we've got utility. We know they're going to go for a lot of utility, but we know we're going to go for a lot of activity. We already have them, so I think I'm going to go for this. And let's go ahead and keep building up the points of my activity rooms by trying to surround them. And 5 more. This game is quick. We're just about at the halfway point. Oh, look at this. I'm going to grab this for sure. We got our first outdoor room, and it is 1 point for every activity room in your castle. That's already a guaranteed 3 minimum. And here we've got a silly promo one, the Dice Tower room. 2 victory points for each specific room connected to a Stonemaier game. Yeah, we're not going to worry about that. Ooh, we do have our first downstairs room to give us 2 points from the food room earlier. So yeah, I mean, these are my primary ones. What is the AI going to go for? They definitely want the Dice Tower room. That's going to be their sole major thing this time. Now, here's one of the fun details of this Automa mode. They'll always consider the ones they have 2 to 4 of, like this one here, but they'll also always consider whichever one you select. So in this case, I can do something like this, and that'll guarantee that their only tile choice is this one. I don't even have to draw a card, and then I can freely select this nature one and make sure I don't lose the chance. So let's do that. Of course, that strategy is not all good because now they're getting 4 bonus points, and if they get 5 of a kind, they'll get 9 bonus points. So I might actually want to try to dissuade them from picking those in the future. But for this time, it worked out fine. Let's go ahead and get our tennis court. And since it blocks off any further vertical building in the column it's in, I'll go at the highest point I can right there. Now, these I care significantly less about. I think the gunpowder room earns me the most, 2 victory points from the food room, whereas I only have 1 torch on either side of my castle. That's not going to get me much, so yeah, I'm going to go for this one. And this time the AI has no preference, so they'll just go for the hat room. That is their first living room. And this is discarded, and nothing too complicated. We're going to have some gunpowder under the chocolate. That makes it taste better. Okay, just 4 turns left. We've got a panic room. I've seen that movie. A bocce court, oratory, hall of doors, and a kitchen. Man, I want to play some bocce ball now. Oh my god, are you kidding me that it's another 1 for every activity and then there's another activity? I mean, I can't say no, can I? Well, hold on. We can maybe mess with the AI again. So currently the only 2 they'll consider are a panic room and the kitchen because they have both of those types. But here's the bad thing if I want to be tricky again. If I pick one of the 2, they're still going to go back and forth between them. And let's say they pick the kitchen, then I'll be stuck with the panic room, which is not worth very many points at all to me. The kitchen, at least, I could put above my chocolate room for 2 points, but we don't want just 2 points, do we? I really want the bocce court and the oratory. So let's just take our chances. They'll have a 1 in 3 chance of snagging it from us, hopefully not. 4th. Oh man, I think that's the wrong number, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Never mind, we're good. Well, kind of sort of good because they're just about to 5 of those. We got our friendly bocce court. Woo! And where to put it? I guess we'll just kind of lock out that stuff. And just to show you, man oh man, do I want activity rooms now, because look, every activity room I get is worth 1 because of the tennis court, 1 because of the bocce court, and 1 because of my ballroom. Bring them on. So this time I can safely make sure I get the oratory. I'm going to select the kitchen. I don't have to draw a card because that's the only one they're considering anyway, so they will place it for their 3rd. And the Hall of Doors goes away. My oratory is safe. And it doesn't want any corridors nearby, but I don't have any corridors, so I'm okay. So let's see, I could go like here or over here. It seems like this will be easier to cover up the other spots for additional points. There we go. 3 more piles. We are coming to the end. Oh, interesting. Let's see. I definitely want another activity room. We know that. But this crypt isn't bad. Look, it would get me 2 victory points from the chocolate room. And then because I have the gunpowder room above it, it would be another point. So that's 3 points all by itself, which is nothing to sneeze at. Now, what's the AI going for? They absolutely want this and they absolutely want that. They don't care about anything else. So if I do the same thing I did last time and maybe like go for the crypt first, there's a pretty good chance 2/3 they'll go for one of those 2. Then I can safely select the one they want, let them have it, and ensure that I get the singer's chamber. I think that's what I'm going to do because I care more about the singer's chamber than the crypt. And they're going for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that is their 5th activity room. So they will no longer try to get those at all, but that is 9 bonus points. Not great for us. That's okay. The chocolate drips down into the gunpowder, and then the dead bodies get buried there. It's such a lovely castle, isn't it? All right, and let's enact our plan. Mwahaha. No card needed. The AI has taken this China room. And that's another column where they almost have the full 9-point bonus. But I get to grab my lovely singing cat chamber, I guess. Don't want it to be near any sleeping quarters where people will wake up from the singing. But my only sleeping room is way over there, so let's just put it here for now. Now let's put it here. I still want to maybe get food rooms around this for bonus points. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 activity rooms. So I get to place any special tile I like. And these are the main 3 options, plus the ballroom you saw earlier. Fountain's just worth 5 straight up. Tower's worth 1 per tile underneath it. So if you get like a really big column, you can get a lot. And then the Grand Foyer is worth 1 for every tile next to it. I tend to like that one the best because these you'll see have the blue border. They have to be the topmost thing in their column, so that seems easiest. And let's put it over here. It's already a guaranteed 4 points. If I can build around it, it'll be even more. Although I don't have too much time, only 2 piles left. We got a grand balcony that likes sleeping rooms. The Hole, doesn't sound very nice. The Pit of Despair, I remember that movie. And the fireplace. All right, so the main ones I'm considering here are the grand balcony and one of the 2 downstairs ones, because that would be my third in either case, so I would get a bonus for it. Grand balcony is only going to be worth 1 victory point, though, because I only have 1 sleeping quarter. Pit of Despair is probably the best. I can keep putting it in that same column. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for that one. And I should know this is open season for the AI, so we'll just see what they go for. The 4th one, the pillow room. I definitely did not want that. Take it. But that is their 2nd sleeping room, so they're going to go for more of those and also try to finish up their 5th food room. And here's my Pit of Despair, complete with water-based life-stealing torture devices. And because that's my 3rd downstairs room, I get to choose any other bonus. So I can get another Grand Foyer, another ballroom, the fountain or tower I showed you. These are bonus cards. You draw 3 and keep 1. They generally give you victory points for certain types of rooms in your castle. You can also place one of these attendants. It gives me victory points for every room that has the indicated type, but I don't see a bunch of commonality in my castle, so whatever. Or finally, the food bonus is to draw 5 tiles and place 1 of them. Well, I think I've got a good idea. Let's place another Grand Foyer here, and then if I just start building up this column, that'll be worth like 2 victory points for each tile as I get up there, because it'll be getting adjacent to both my guys here. All right, now definitely going to go for the grand balcony just to get my 3rd outdoor one. If they let me, 4. I think that's the worst possible number, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Well, that does mean that they're only missing 2 types. They get a bunch of bonus points if they have 7 out of 8 or all 8, so I might want to try to keep them from picking those the last turn. Now, what the heck do I go for? I guess the Hole, because I'm close to having a 5th downstairs room. Whereas I only have 1 living room so far, so this isn't going to get me much. Yeah, I think that's the right choice. And I'll put it underneath the only sleeping room I have for 1 point. All right, here we go. Our last tiles. Come on, give me another activity room or something. Oh my gosh, or like 55 corridors. I don't think I'm going to be able to stop the AI from getting a corridor here. Oh well. And remember, sleeping rooms are only worth 4 victory points if you have 7 out of the 8 basic room types in your castle, including the sleeping room. Right now, let's see. I have food, I have living, I have outdoor, I don't have utility, I have sleeping, I have activity. Oh, so if I get a corridor and a downstairs, my sleeping rooms will be worth more. So I guess this was actually kind of a good draw. I need to get a corridor, and then more sleeping rooms won't hurt. Now, unfortunately, none of the corridors have the type that I have the most of, which is like kind of the square icon. We have like the circle kind of mirror thing, a torch, and a sword. So the most I'm going to get from any of these is like 1 point, but it'll make the sleeping rooms worth more. So let's grab the sleeping room first, since there's fewer of them, then we can grab the corridor. And they're all basically identical, so whatever. Now, the AI does prefer sleeping rooms, so 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was a waste of time. So that'll be their 3rd. Oh man, and I just realized if I had picked a corridor, I could have gotten them to take both sleeping rooms and never get the corridor for the bonus points. I don't know if that would be better or worse for me, though, so let's get this. And let's see, what's better here? This would get me 1 victory point because I have the hole underneath. But I also get 1 victory point just for going next to my Grand Foyer, and then if I build on top of it next turn, I'll get 2 for hitting both of them, so let's do that. All right, and then either of these would be worth 1 victory point in that spot, so it doesn't really matter to me. AI's taken the first one. And let's proceed according to plan. We are done! So here you go, zooming out a bit, my full castle in all its glory, or maybe not that much glory. We'll see how we did against the AI. Speaking of the AI, here's what they accomplished. So getting into scoring for the AI first, we were playing on kind of like basic difficulty, level 3, where they start with 37 points. At higher difficulty, they not only get extra points, but they get starting tiles given to them. So 37, they get 4 points for each group of 3 or 4. So 37, 41, 45. 9 points for each group of 5, so that's 54. Then if they got 7 out of 8 types, they get a flat 10-point bonus, 64. Oof, that is really, really good for them. Now, as for me, well, let's go by type. So food rooms, I only had 1, but it's worth 2 for every downstairs, so that's 4 points. Living rooms, once again, only had 1, and I only had 1 food room adjacent, so that's 1. Utility rooms, the 1 room missing from my castle. Outdoor rooms, I had 2 of them, each giving me 1 point per activity room, and I had 5 activity rooms, so that's 10. How about the activity rooms themselves? This one is worth 1, 2, 3 points. This one got the full 4. This one got the full 4. This one got the full 4. This one got 3. And none of them had their quote-unquote bad room nearby. So 3, 7, 11, 15, 18, liking that. Corridors just had this one and only one torch around it, so that's 1 point. Downstairs, a 1 point for the sleeping room. 1, 2 points, 3 points, that's it. Sleeping rooms, I did get 7 out of the 8 types, so that's worth 4, and that's worth 4, 8. And then getting into special things, my ballroom, I had 5 activity rooms. The AI sadly only had 1, so that's 6. My grand foyers, 3, 5, 7 for this guy, and this one only gets 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 11 for both of them. And then for my throne room, I did have one of the 2 room types in both spots, so that's 4 more. And let's see, adding it all up, and it all comes to 66 points. I think that means that I beat the AI by 2 points. Woohoo! There you go. Hope you enjoyed that. That was Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, the introvert solo variant, which comes with the Secrets and Soirees expansion. And again, I have a separate review video if you'd like to hear my thoughts on this solo mode, as well as the other one that's a little bit closer to the multiplayer game. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good gaming, and I will see you at the next stop.